Laura Howe. Laura was on my morning show this morning, so we've gotten to know each other a bit. She's Canadian. Ooh, exotic. Actually, closer than Chicago. Yeah. So we're just getting the internet all interneted. So, any more jokes, Laura? Nope, that's it. How did Canada get its name? That's good. Have you heard that one? Of course you have. Of course you have. All right, I think we're good to go. So, again, the first international speaker of the conference joining us on stage, Miss Laura Howe. She is founder of Hope Made Strong and the Church Mental Health Summit with over 15 years of experience as a mental health and addictions clinician. Please welcome Laura Howe.
Between you and lunch, so I promise we will be out early. And this is my family on the slide. My background is a clinical mental health social worker and passionate about community development. I wanted to go on mission and do community development internationally. And then realized that those women or girls who grew up and were told were bossy are just really amazing project managers. And so I am among them. I have lots of ideas and I like to tell people what to do. But someone's got to, or else nothing's going to happen. So I'm okay with that. But part of my passion in developing or starting Hope Made Strong is my home church. I don't have any seminary background. I haven't preached, or I preached one message one time on one Sunday, and that was the last time, clearly. But I'm really passionate about the local church and being a place where people can find hope and healing. And I think that is God's answer to our broken world, is to come together in a community and be able to learn to be more like Him. And for some reason, we have created so many programs to be able to be like magic wands for a solution to fix problems. I know, let's run a small group. Now, I lead a small group. I've been a part of small groups. I've gained so much from small groups. So I am not knocking small groups. But what I'm saying, when it comes to those who are struggling in life, I don't know if small groups is the fix-it, one do-all solution to everything. And so what I've noticed in the past little bit is that the church is often very, very outreach focused. How can we engage and bring people in to the church? And whereas care, which is where the work that I do focuses on, is like, how can we tend to those who are already connected to the church? Maybe not members, maybe not volunteers or tithers or people on, that would consider themselves a member, but how are we supporting those who are already connected to the church? Because if we continue to just have this invite culture, and they come, then we are a bunch of people who are struggling. We don't know, we're lost together. It's the blind leading the blind. So I work with the concept of care ministry, in that care is the support that is being offered to the community, and community being the community within your church, or if you're connected to the community surrounding. So I think the church is the heartbeat of the community. And it's the care that's being offered by the church that strengthens belonging, purpose, and hope, with the goal for equipping the whole person to flourish. So this is the foundational pieces that we work from Hope Made Strong. And I'm challenging programs today, not because I think they're bad, but I think if I was a church and if I was a pastor and I said, I have limited time, I have limited funds, and I have limited people, how am I going to start a new program? I am being overwhelmed with the needs of my community. I'm overwhelmed with my needs of my congregation. I don't know how to do this, but we don't have any resources. There's a good Canadian accent for you, for some of you, resources. We don't have the capacity to start a new program. And so I want to say, as long as you are offering, wherever belonging, purpose, and hope are offered, you are providing care. Let's take the expectations and bring them down a notch so that people feel like this is something that they can do. Let's get really, really practical. Like I said, my background is in social work, so I'm kind of like the practical where the rubber hits the road kind of a person. So first I want to define what belonging, purpose, and hope to me is. Belonging is really about creating safe spaces where people feel that they're welcomed. And that there's consistent, positive relationships being built over time. I'm a Gen Xer, so I sat beside my dad smoking while I wasn't smoking, he was smoking while he watched Cheers. That was my upbringing. So any other children of the 80s, So you want to go where someone knows your name. You want to go somewhere where someone can say, hey, how was your week? How was that job interview? How's your kid doing in this class? Or, you going somewhere where you feel safe, where you feel welcomed, and where you feel like you belong is a huge component to well-being. I think we've heard that over and over. Now, purpose is offering dignity and identifying that someone's value or worth is not dependent on what they can tithe or their education or the number of volunteer hours that they offer. That every person that comes into your building is valuable, has a purpose, was made on purpose, and has strengths and gifts and callings in their life that God has given them that is unique from any other person. And so if we as a congregation, as we as a community, foster this environment where we see and believe that people have value and dignity, and that we are actively trying to help people discover their strengths and purpose, then this is a huge amount of value that people can have and hope and help that they have. One of the roles that I had as a counselor was a program called walk-in counseling. Our healthcare system is like apples and oranges. Like, it's totally different down here. So someone would walk in and say, and just do walking, like you would walk into a healthcare clinic and just be like, hey, I need to see a doctor, I have an ear infection or something. People would just walk in and be like, hey, I need to see a counselor. So they would just walk in, and so every hour I'd see someone totally different, from young to old to everything in between. And over and over and over, the pattern, regardless if the person was struggling with addictions or if they were struggling with relationships, whether they're unhoused or whether they were an executive, every single person wanted to feel valuable and that they had something to offer. And I think this is a huge opportunity that a church has to be able to, we see this as in Christ's example. And then obviously hope. We can provide hope. A lot of people who are suffering don't have the capacity to hold the hope for themselves. So sometimes we're caretakers of hope while they're going through the struggle. They're on the struggle bus and it's going for a long journey. And so we are the caretakers of hope for them. And we have the opportunity to share the hope and love of Christ. So anywhere that you are fostering communities of belonging, purpose, and hope, you are caring for your people well. And I think that local church has such a unique space for this. We are located in the heart of our communities. We are filled with people with lived experience. You want to talk about experts in offering belonging, purpose, and hope? It's those with lived experience, whether you overcame or journeying through a diagnosis of depression, anxiety, cancer, MS, you name it, you have lived experience of that. Whether you're struggling in relationships and you've had divorce or rejection and trauma, you have lived experience and you are able to offer belonging, purpose, and hope in a in a way that no other clinician is able to offer. And uniquely to churches is that you are in a position to have long-term relationships with people in jobs or in counseling or clinicians or whatever. Those are very time limited and very intentional around a purpose where your counselor might move or retire, or you only have, your benefits only cover 6 sessions. So everything's very time limited, but the benefits of the local church is that you can have long-standing relationships from beginning to end with someone and see them through a whole journey. And so I think the local church is such a unique place and has the opportunity that no other organization in your communities have to walk alongside people. So there are 3 roles in the local church: peers, pastors, and professionals. So peers are those who have lived, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, now have a story to share. And there's incredible expertise in peer support. I'm a big, huge advocate of peer support. I think I was part of a project of bringing peer support into clinical settings in my community. And so I really think the expertise that peers have is exceptional. In fact, at the very same time, which kind of brought me into this space of with Hope Made Strong, is that in my workspace, we were trying to generate and develop a peer support environment with walk-in and drop-in center and all these clubs. Well, my church was trying to develop clinical settings. And I was like, can you guys just talk to each other? Because the church is filled with peers and the services are filled with clinicians. Like, if the church can do the church and the clinicians could do the clinicians, this would really work out great. But they kept trying to do each other's role. And anyway, I'll get off that soapbox. But anyway, so peers are fantastic supporters, very underutilized. Pastors are phenomenal. They have an expert. Some often have done further education. Although pastoral care, I have opinions that it's often goal-oriented support that is short-term. I don't think it's reasonable expectation unless someone is in a clinical or pastoral care role, like that's their job to meet with people for long-term. I really think that the biblical guidance or the support through a biblical lens is a great offering that pastors are able to have. I think we put so much expectations on pastoral care and thinking it's the pastor is the only person to provide pastoral care. And I think there's a lot of people within a congregation who are able to offer pastoral care. And then we have professionals, so we're able to partner, support. Very few people have clinicians within their organization, like within the church, but there are some. And oftentimes churches get caught up into case management, which I think is a professional role, not a church role. So we have 3 types of caregivers within a church. So if I'm challenging the concept of having programs of care, then how the heck is a church going to care for people? Yeah, we have pastors, yeah, we have peers, yeah, we have professionals, but how do we actually provide care? How do we foster that belonging, purpose, and hope? Glad you asked. It's very quiet. So this is a model of care that all human beings engage with care, and I'm going to fly through this exceptionally fast because lunch is in 13 minutes. So we all access self-care. If we're having a hard day, we go for a walk, play with our dogs, listen to music, have a shower, take a bath, read a book, eat delicious food. We all utilize self-care practices for ourselves. But the church is able to engage and support people through their self-care practices by talking and teaching around meditation and prayer, about talking about forgiveness, about talking about Sabbath and rest, talking about taking care of your body as the temple. There's many, many ways that the church is able to provide support around the actual natural ways that people engage with care. And it's at the top because everyone has access to self-care. Now, the next section is community. I think the church is exceptional at community. We are able to gather people really well. Talked about that at the panel earlier. And we're able to give meaning and motivation for people to engage in something bigger than themselves. And then peer support, I've been on that soapbox enough times. I think it is underutilized, but we have lay leaders, prayer teams, hospitality teams, small groups. So many times people are like, hey, I just referred to the pastor because I didn't know what to do. Okay, let's equip these lay leaders in being able to support the church and their people within their small community of like a small group or their friendship network. Expert care, I would say in the broader community, expert care would be like nutrition, finances. These are area people that have expertise in a very narrow area. I would say within the church, you are able to refer or have those in-house. Maybe you have a program around finances or something like that, but this is where like the pastoral support, pastoral care would be. And then the clinical. We're able to partner with clinical expertise and professional mental health professionals. Through partnerships and collaborations, we hear a lot about that. And so I think offering care is much more than offering a small group. We're able to engage people in how they can equip and care for themselves in all 5 areas. Care does not only mean casseroles. Care is so much greater. And I think the local church is called to care and is one of the foundational values and responsibilities that the local church has. So I want to end off on a story of the Good Samaritan. It is my favorite. Right now I just keep going back to it. And I think it's really familiar for many of us. And I think we can take a lot from each character in this parable, in this story, in that the person that has been beat up and bruised, it's really hard to accept help from people we don't know and we don't trust. And yet, the Lord brought by the Good Samaritan, and he was accepting of someone that we don't know that the Samaritan didn't know, that the person beat up the foreigner didn't know. And that's a really good reminder to me that when I'm struggling, that help comes from unexpected places, and we just have to trust the Lord that we can say yes and accept help. And then the Samaritan, obviously we all want to be the Samaritan. It's kind of the hero of the story. But truly, I think it's wonderful that we are able to one-on-one connect and support those who are around us. And I also think that the Samaritan's a picture of Jesus, that Jesus is the rescuer and the savior and is able to come, and he paid the price for us. And then the story, the innkeeper, I think is the most forgotten about or maybe overlooked person in this story. But I think the innkeeper is the picture of the local church. The Samaritan is what you and I, individuals, are able to offer our neighbors. But the innkeeper accepted and became and welcomed in this hurting, broken person. And he believed that the Samaritan he paid the price and took care and tended to his wounds and provided safe lodging and healing for him. And I think the innkeeper really is a picture of what the local church can be, and I'm hopeful that we will get there. I'm hopeful that many churches are jumping on board. I'm hopeful that people are stepping up and saying, yeah, we have a role to play. It's not just about Sunday morning, but it's about the people who are in the pews, and that we want to become safe spaces of belonging, purpose, and hope, and be the caretakers of people's healing journey. I want to thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you and value that you are investing in your time to come here today. And I'll turn it back over to our host so that we can grab lunch. Thank you.